And a lot of times people will think, if Steve is not asking me for the sale, then he must be getting plenty of business elsewhere. Or he's too busy, I don't want to bother him. I have a lot of realtor friends that say that. So-and-so just bought a house. Well, why didn't you come talk to me? Oh, you're so busy. I see you in the paper. I see you doing this. You're too busy. I didn't want to bother you. And that happens. But if you're not looking at your friends or your family as part of those strategic alliances, you're missing out on a big portion of potential business for next year. And then, networking partners. Why are we here? We want people to know what we're doing. We want them to understand why it is that we do what we do. Now, having networking partners and using them to a mutually beneficial activity or action is vital to our success, especially in this community. We're not in, even El Paso is a big community where you can do all of your business in one small section of town, in the northeast part of town, and never go to the west side. But Las Cruces is not like that. You know people who know people who know people who know you. And you've got to make sure that your networking is always smart, strategic, and effective so that you can be able to capitalize on those alliances. The other thing that it does is that networking with business people, again, who are fighting the same fight, is like having a bunch of salespeople out on the streets for you. George talked about, and I've been to one of his dinner meetings where he talks about a perfect fit, how it works, what they do. You meet the seamstresses, you have a great dinner, you get a chance to see exactly what George and his company are all about, so that when the time comes that somebody says, I need to get some clothes altered, or I've got to do something, whatever, call George. Go to the perfect fit. He can help you out. And it's all about having people who are able to represent you. Now, all of us are in competitive fields. Whether we're the cable company and have the franchise agreement in town, or the only company here that provides that service, there is somebody else who you're competing with. And that person, that competitor, may also be nothing. There could be somebody who doesn't want cable and thinks, well, I'd rather have nothing than sign up with Comcast. There are people that may think, I really have my closet, it's exactly what I need. I'm not going to make a decision to go with another closet organizer. I'm going to do nothing. So you've got to be able to make sure that you, in your strategic alliances, are conveying what you do, how effectively you do it, so that when, as a Farm Bureau agent, you know that other people who need your services will not go to another Farm Bureau agent. Some people may think, well, that's Farm Bureau, I'm helping the company out, indirectly I'm helping you out. Well, no, that doesn't help me out one bit. But Farm Bureau is, I need to benefit Farm Bureau rather than you helping Farm Bureau benefit me. So you've got to think about your alliances and how you work for them. But reiterating that strategic alliances are like having a bunch of salespeople out on the streets working on your behalf. Does that make sense? Any questions up to that point?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
What do you do specifically, Steve? What do you do in order to gain the confidence or gain the buy-in from those alliances? In other words, how do you encourage them first to start with to go out and communicate what it is that you do, and how do you keep them motivated to keep doing it?
The one thing that I would say on that is I communicate a message consistently. Everybody that I know, everybody that I meet knows who I am and what I do. Sometimes that seems kind of trite because they may know that I am Comcast, and we may tongue-in-cheek say, Steve, I am Comcast. But if I don't let people know that Comcast to you is a business product service or business service for your company that is going to help you be more profitable, help you be more productive, and it's different from what you're using at home. Because a lot of people will say, oh, if I go to Comcast, if I have that service at home, I'm going to be helping Steve at Comcast. And again, it's the same farm bureau analogy. Somebody's helping Comcast, and they think they're helping me indirectly. But I think by conveying the message consistently, by always being out there, by creating a comfortable, approachable persona, you let people understand who you are and what you do and why they need to refer you. So, yes?
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
Because I am my business, so what I do to keep people talking about me, I give them an incentive. If they bring me 3 people, I give them 12 sessions free, which is a month. You know, that's a $240 value, but they have brought me 3 other people, which doubles that.
Absolutely. And you're right, conveying value for what you do is very, very important. And by me helping you out, by helping other people out, again, it creates that air of the network. It strengthens the network and makes it more valuable. So absolutely.
And I'd like to top that off by also saying, you know, the question that I asked led me to think about what I see when I see Steve out in the marketplace. Because not only does he gain the buy-in from the people that he works with, he also adds to their business by trying to help them succeed in what it is they did. And that's where the network comes in.
And it has to be a mutually beneficial arrangement. It can't be all about what are you going to do for me. But in respect of what Joey was saying and how you refer people and how they are able to understand what it is that you do, the idea behind the strategic alliance is that a friend of mine is a friend of mine. Okay? I'm sorry, I said that wrong. A friend of a friend is a friend of mine. Okay? I may not know Joey's best friend, but when Joey's best friend comes to me and says, hey, Joey sent me your information and I need to get high-speed internet at my business or my home office, immediately I realize, okay, Joey is a great guy, so this guy must be a great guy. And we talk about, there's a paradigm that says, if you want to know a man's character, look at his friends. And so that's where a friend of mine is a friend of mine idea comes from, especially in our community. Now, every time I give a presentation, I always have to say that our community is different from any other community that I've ever lived and worked in, and that most of you have. I have a lot of people that I've known over the years who have come here from Cleveland or Tampa or LA or Seattle, and they realize, even Anchorage, and they realize that this community is totally different from where they've done business. And usually within the first month that they're here, they're saying, I'm going to change the way people do business in this community. The land of mañana is out of here. Well, let's talk after you've been chewed up and spit out. But it's true. This community is, you've got to change the way you would normally do something. And the business books are great, but you don't do, it doesn't play in Peoria if it's in Las Cruces.
I'd like to respond to Fred's comment. How do you do it? You know, how do you develop? I think there's one skill that all business people have to know: how to listen. After you listen, you'll be able to develop the activities. Now, I know that's hard for me to say because I'm not a good listener, but I know that that's the way you're supposed to do it.
Absolutely. Being an active listener is key. But remember that a strategic alliance closes the gap from introduction to close, or to the close of the sale. It narrows that gap. Now, how do you develop these strategic alliances? And one that my good friend here and I have developed over the years is by using the prestige introduction. There are lots of times when Fred and I are out, and when we used to work together, or now that we work in different lines of business, but if I need to meet somebody, or if I want to meet somebody, or if there's somebody that I